When I was working,
when you were working?
I was based in Spitalfields Market. See, he had a wonderful, he was supplying schools, hotel and so on, wholesale. He used to go on the Spitalfields Market, get his supplies there, and send them out to different customers.
And how much did your English improve?
Oh, my English will improve very well, very much so after years. See, because I've always been trying to improve myself, you see. I mean, some people are just satisfied. I was never satisfied. I wanted to improve myself. I never went to school or anything. I just learned it by myself. I took books and learned it myself.
Where was your brother at this point?
My brother Charles then had as well asked for the permission to leave his work at the factory, and then he went to my uncles who were in the jewelry trade, and then he said, well, we can take one of them, but not two of you. So they took Charles, and he was in the jewelry trade, and he started in the jewelry trade, and eventually I joined him, and then we went into the antique business.
Did you hear from your father at all?
Oh, my father was with us all the time. Oh, yes. Oh, I never mentioned that. That's right. My father and my mother came over in middle of 1945. It must have been after somewhere in April or May 1945. They came over from France, and then we were together. Then we lived together.
What were the economic conditions like in London at the time?
Well, it wasn't very good, but you see, the point is, I mean, I remember when I started work, I used to get £5 a week, and that was big money, and I was satisfied. See, I mean, we used to go to cinemas, and it cost us a shilling, and everything was relative to what you were earning, you see. I mean, you couldn't, first of all, you couldn't spend so much, because we didn't have all the luxury that you have today, you see. So it didn't really matter. What you haven't, you don't miss. So we didn't miss anything. We were satisfied with whatever we were getting.
How long did you stay in Stamford Hill for?
We stayed in Stamford Hill with my parents till 1949, end of 48, beginning of 49.
And then where did you move to?
Then my brother got married, so he moved to Finchley Central. He was living there, so we thought, so my parents already, not me, but my parents thought we'd move to Henley's Corner. So we came to Henley's Corner. First of all, we were living in Hurstwood Court, then in Kinloss Court, and then that's it. Then I got married, and that's it.
Where did you meet your wife?
I met my wife in Israel, in Jerusalem.
And when did you go to Israel?
Well, I went to Israel twice, actually. Once, you see, the first time my mother went back because she heard that one of her sisters had been there, she had come from Russia, and they hadn't been in contact. Well, they might have written to each other once or twice before the war, but they hadn't seen each other since 1921. So she was very keen on meeting her sister, and then she asked me to go with her, and I went with her. Then again, I went with her in 1956, just after the Sinai campaign. I remember it was 1956, yes. I went there, and that's where I met Shoshana.
And when were you married?
We were married in February 1957.
And where were you married?
Where? In Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv, that's right.
And when did you return to England?
Well, we had a very short honeymoon, and we came back about towards March 1957.
Do you have any children?
Yes, we have 3 boys, bless them.
And can you tell me their names and their ages?
Well, the eldest one is Michael, and was born on 20th of March 1957. 58 rather, so 1958, sorry. 1958, so that will make him 39. He's 39. Anthony, the second one, is 36. And Lawrence, the younger one, is 30.
How would you say that your background affected their growing up?
Well, I hope it hasn't affected them in the sense that, you see, at first I never discussed this thing with them. I never said anything about it. And then as they grew up, more sort of, grew up and they were understood. So I talked to them about it and so on and so forth. But I never made a rule of keep on telling them all the time. You see, gradually, slowly, I used to tell them sometime at a bit at a time, you see. But then I suppose they would have learned anyway, because I mean they were studious, they went to school and so on and so forth, and they're through reading books and newspapers and so on. They would have learned, but of course I told them that we went through that ourselves, my brother, my father, and myself.
What was their response?
Well, the true response, they said, "Don't, you talked enough about it."
Where do they live now?
Well, one of them lives in Toronto. And the two others live in New York.
Do you have any grandchildren?
Yes, we have 5 grandchildren, bless them.
And what are their names?
Well, the eldest one is Zachary, his brother is Jeremy, and the younger, their sister is Ariella. That's the eldest son's children. Then Anthony, the second son, he has one daughter, Jennifer Dora. See, Jennifer is the eldest, is my daughter-in-law's grandmother's name, and Dora is my late mother's name. So the 2 grandmothers, in other words, you see, have given their name, or well, they haven't given it, but the children have given the name of the grandmother to their daughter. Then Lawrence has got a little boy, Yosef Chaim.
And do you think you'll be telling them your story?
Well, I've told them the story, but I understand that one day I might even get one of these tapes, so I will give it to them and then let them, and I'll see whether they will watch it.
Is there anything you would like to add to this interview?
Well, all I can say is that I'm really grateful to be able to tell the story, to be here to tell my story. And I only feel sorry for the people, the millions who have been unlucky to be here.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.